like, I'll be honest with you, I've been doing this a long time and I've seen people get 5, 10, 15, 20 write-ups and they still work there. It's generally those are not the people I'm worried about as a steward. The people I'm worried about are the ones that have never been written up. Because as soon as they piss off management, management will get into their records and they'll find things that just kind of stick out to them.
The facts, dates, and events presented in this video are from the member's best recollection and may not be fully accurate. This video is intended for entertainment purposes only. Always consult with your local union about your rights and duties at your workplace. The opinions shared on this video are our own and do not necessarily represent my employer's positions, strategies, or opinions. All views shared are protected under the National Labor Relations Act.
What is going on, everybody? So today I have Greg Kerwood out of Local 25 in Boston, and we're going to be doing something a little different. So we released a video last week talking about stacking discipline, a lot of what the company does, the ticky-tack things to write people up. And I had a lot of very interesting comments come in the comments section. Usually when I upload these videos, they get uploaded to 3 different platforms: YouTube, the UPSers Reddit page, and Facebook. And so collectively, but I want to get to these comments because some of them are pretty interesting. I guess the first thing I want to say before we kick this off, some of these are pretty gnarly. You know, when we do these videos, it's not necessarily my goal to destroy the company or anything like that. It's more like some of these managers have bad behaviors and we would like to see them change more than anything. So please don't construe this or take this the wrong way. But with that being said, let's get into it. A driver was stalked with a drone, trying to use the drone footage for discipline. They brought the footage to the meeting to give an intent to terminate. Greg, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, obviously, the use of technology isn't going to go anywhere as far as discipline goes. But I think there's 2 points to be made. One, this is how far the company will go to try to nail somebody when they want to nail them. It's almost embarrassing, the lengths they will go to. And number 2, when they do put you in that situation, they're looking to get you to do something in the office that they can then hang their hat on, either lie or change stories or be dishonest or whatever. So understand that the technology can't be used solely to discipline you, and they have to find something else. And just give them the truth and don't play games in the office.
Usually when somebody gets to that level, like, I'll be honest with you, I've been doing this a long time and I've seen people get 5, 10, 15, 20 write-ups and they still work there. It's generally those are not the people I'm worried about as a steward. The people I'm worried about are the ones that have never been written up. Because as soon as they piss off management, management will get into their records and they'll find things that just kind of stick out to them that are cardinal infractions, things they can fire you without even writing you up. Generally, when it gets to the level of someone bringing a drone out, that's desperate, And I'm sorry to tell you this, you're kind of a loser if you get a drone and you use it to try to write up drivers. So let's get to the next one. Part-timers get in over their heads and might not grieve because of inexperience and just to the culture of being part-time. Also true, some people losing this job means that their life will be affected forever. One part-time single dad who lost his job comes to mind for me frequently. I texted, begged, and bargained with anyone I could, including management, to get his rehire status changed. It didn't change anything. This guy was a guy who would double inside on 108-degree days. Still no change. UPS is a game changer for those who make it to retirement, part-time or full-time, and also game changer for those who lose it. And that is very true. Greg, do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Our part-timers, in a lot of cases, are sort of left out of the loop in some ways. And I think it's incumbent upon us, certainly as stewards, but even as full-time members, to make sure that we go out of our way to educate part-timers and sort of bring them into the fold and teach them what their rights are. I think as drivers, sometimes we forget, we may get followed a couple times here and there, but as a part-timer, you've got supervisors watching you the entire shift, every single shift.
All right. This one is very interesting. I actually had a comment from management. A couple of sinners over a driver was disciplined over distracted driving, first eating while driving, then diet use while driving twice, and then talking on the phone while driving. Everyone kept screaming harassment. I think he got all the discipline in about 8 months window, and I'm sure he felt targeted. I mean, by human nature, we want to defend our actions. Well, the discipline didn't end his career, but his career ended when he rear-ended a car at 60 miles an hour, instantly killed one of the passengers, and caused life-changing injuries to the driver. Greg, what's your thoughts?
Well, obviously that's an awful story, and I think the point is that discipline has its place. We have folks who do the wrong thing out there. Every workplace has rules and rules that are supposed to be followed, but and the purpose of discipline is supposed to be to correct behavior. Now, the problem, of course, is that the company goes way above and beyond that and uses discipline as a weapon to harass and intimidate and coerce people into performing unsafely or whatever to make their numbers. But it shouldn't be lost on our members that you should be doing the right thing out there. Certainly, safety wise, protecting yourself and protecting others around you. And if you're doing something wrong and you are getting disciplined for it, even though you may feel harassed, if it's a valid point, if you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing, change the behavior, and make sure you're protecting yourself and everyone around you.
Absolutely. And I'll say this as a steward, it is very difficult for us to protect people that are working unsafe. If you bring a case to panel and it shows that the member is consistently working unsafe, it's hard for us to sit here and say, well, you should let them work unsafe. It just doesn't work. That being said, we got one from John, the retired UPS guy. Listen, love you, John. It's been a while since we've seen you. So, I was once in the office. By the way, he's a steward, or he's retired now, but he was a steward over in California. I was once in the office in the morning with a driver, and the manager who was going to do a production ride that day, he was walked out of the door after saying he would not break the law, double parking that day. Of course, he got his job back the next day with back pay of 8 hours, plus the usual overtime for the previous day. Such petty crap they pull. What do you think, Greg?
Well, I think that's a prime example of what we were just referring to, is how this company takes discipline to a whole nother level. Obviously, you don't have to follow any instructions that are unsafe. If someone's telling you to do something illegal that puts you at risk or those around you at risk, you have every right to refuse. Don't abuse that. Obviously, it's there for your protection, but you do have to work as directed. But it just goes to show you just how far management will go. I know we've all seen it, and I know it happens in every building. A manager or a supervisor, whomever, doesn't like a member or a driver, decides they're going to teach them a lesson or make an example of them or what have you. And that's how you end up with garbage like this and drones over people's heads and all the nonsense that the company pulls. It's embarrassing and disgusting. I don't know where they came up with this management style. I think it's pretty unique in the world. But it's important to understand that stuff and what your rights are, and to keep your head together.
And this is a pretty sad one. But speaking of which, we talked about in the last video how a lot of this harassment can really mess with people. And this person wrote, they did the same to a driver in our center, and he unalived himself in 2021. He was a great driver, about 15 years with the company.
Yeah, that's what I'm referring to. I know, you've been there and I've been there. It's not a comfortable situation. When you're getting fired every day, when there's somebody watching you all the time, waiting for you to slip up. Obviously we're all human. We make mistakes. None of us is perfect. And what gets lost, I think, with this company and their garbage is intent, right? If you're intentionally doing something, if you're standing firing packages, like baseballs into the back of the car, or deliberately delivering stuff to the wrong location or whatever, that's one thing. But honest mistakes are honest mistakes, and it's part of what makes it so disgusting and disruptive is to see and hear stories like this and what it does to people and how it messes with their lives. When your spouse gets that certified letter that comes to your house saying you've been terminated, and they don't understand what that means, it's nauseating. It is really what it is. There's discipline that serves a purpose, and then there's just out and out harassment. And obviously, in the worst case scenario, it can lead to situations like this where people actually take their own lives.
And we have another one for you. Management cited me for a 5-day suspension in July of 2024. I'm going to speed this up. Sorry, guys. Love your message, but basically, he was burning up all of his paid sick leave from July, September, January, and July. And then unexpectedly, his aunt passed away. Even after speaking directly with the center manager, informing him of the situation, requesting no pay the morning I found out, and him reassuring no discipline would be given. My wife gets a discharge letter in the mail. They try to break you down, and they will if you let them.
Yeah, I think that's a classic case. I mean, there's nothing that I find, certainly as a steward, more disgusting than when someone has a loved one pass away and needs the time off that, as human beings, we should be entitled to. Obviously, we have a lot of relatives spelled out in our contract. It's impossible to have language that encompasses every situation. I know I've had members who were raised by their aunt or their uncle, and yet that doesn't qualify as a parent, and so they don't get the paid time off. And it ends up being a negotiation, or they do what they have to do and risk discipline, and it's really disgusting. It's another case of putting packages before people and just ignoring humanity, and it's there's really nothing. There's no excuse for it as far as I'm concerned.
And like I said before, we're not trying to put a bad look on the company. I mean, these are managers; they're doing it themselves. This has been a culture that's been around for too long, and I'm not going to sit here and say all managers are the same. They're all like this, but there is definitely a culture here, because when we upload a video and then people from all over the U.S. have similar stories they're sharing, there's an underlying issue going on. And personally, I'd love to see it stop, because this is wrecking people's lives. And I don't even know if it does the company any good, to be honest with you. Eventually, what it ends up doing is it makes people bitter, and then it just causes chaos. And it's just, I don't think anybody's out here trying to purposely screw the company or work slow or anything like that. A lot of people just want to do their job, go home, and call it a day. But for whatever reason, we got this culture going on. Anyways, that's all I got, everybody. Love you, and I'll see you next time.